In Chapter 16, we're going to talk about what research tells us and a look at the future. With the wealth and information related to community policing and strategies that are available in print and online, how can departments determine which ideas and programs are effective? This is what we're going to talk about today. Why is research important and what pitfalls might be encountered? Also, what has been learned that will affect community policing efforts in the future? Reliable sources of law enforcement research. Here are some very reliable sources to help us in our research. One is the National Institute of Justice. Another is the Justice Research and Statistics Association. Another is the Police Executive Research Forum. And the last one is SEARCH, which is the National Consortium for Justice Information and Statistics. There's a wealth of information in the book concerning these different entities that can help, and they're very reliable sources for law enforcement for research that can help us to determine what to expect and how we should be responding to the things that are coming in the future. The importance of practical, relevant research. Contrary to conventional wisdom, law enforcement agencies are actually quite open to the research process. The problem that has been associated with police research have been related to the current exclusionary style of conducting research by academics who are more interested in publication than in providing useful information for departments. The emphasis on publications in the absence of practical accountabilities have led to police distrust for these type research forms. All right, research on eyewitness information. Eyewitnesses play a vital role in the administration of justice. Their testimony can lead to identifying, charging, and convicting a suspect of a crime. In some cases, it may be the only evidence that's available. But even the most well-intended witnesses can identify the wrong person or fail to identify the perpetrator of a crime. Well, misidentification by eyewitnesses was the leading cause of wrongful conviction in more than 75% of the first 183 DNA exonerations in the United States. And these exonerations have led to the debate over the best way to obtain reliable eyewitness identification through lineups. Let's talk about a few case studies here. There are multiple case studies, and much of what is known about community policing derives from case studies of community policing practices that have taken places in cities throughout our country. These case studies are diverse in their goals, their design, their length, and the richness of details. Collectively, they provide much needed information about the stated purposes of community policing, in particular, places, strategies, and structural components of community policing, implementation processes and obstacles, and occasional results. So case studies frequently provide readers with a strong sense of knowing what community policing is all about and what it's like. Evidence-based policing. In 1998, criminologist Larry Sherman proposed a new model of law enforcement that he called evidence-based policing. Of all the ideas in policing, one stands out as the most powerful force for change. Police practices should be based, he said, on scientific evidence about what works best. And he noted that often, even after research has shown that something does not work, law enforcement sometimes continue to do it as a result of political pressure or even out of ignorance sometimes. So evidence-based policing is something that's based on statistics and scientific evidence to show the best way to attack a problem or something of that nature. The threat of terrorism, support of our community policing. Local police play a crucial role in homeland safety and security. Although some agencies may fall back on more traditional methods of policing because of immediate policing concerns, they should not abandon community policing. So this is very important. Community policing philosophy emphasizes organizational changes such as delegating decision-making powers to the line-level officers and assigning them to fixed geographic areas. And this can be very valuable because if they're in a fixed area, they will get to know that community in which they serve. So this is why you want to support community policing and support the community, and also community policing also helps to build trust between the community and law enforcement, which in a crisis can help law enforcement deal more effectively with community concerns. We have to sometimes rethink some of the things that we've already been emphasizing for years. Armed with an increasing body of empirical data regarding get tough measures and criminal recidivism, many jurisdictions are now revisiting their mandatory minimum laws, the three strikes laws, and other non-discretionary sentencing schemes, particularly for low-level drug dealers. Many of our nation's correctional institutes have become severely overcrowded by these long-term warehousing of these repeat offenders, and albeit many of them are non-violent, supposedly. So as the economic recession has worsened, many policymakers have been forced to examine whether we can afford to continue to get tough and keep that gift touch approach in incarcerating the masses of these individuals that we're arresting out there. Let's talk about the innovation of technology, because this is definitely something to where law enforcement really has to be on their P's and Q's, because technology is changing by the second. There's so many new things that are taking place in our communities. Technology was the topic of the recent Police Executive Research Forum. Executives have talked about it at this conference, and police chiefs unanimously expressed how impactful technology has been in helping bring crime rates down and helping their officers to be more efficient and more effectively. So this is what we need. We have to agree and take on the technology as it comes, or we're going to get left behind. They also all agree that a new age of technology is going to sweep through America policing in the next 2 decades, as the technologies that have recently emerged begin to take hold, and not to mention technologies that no one has yet been aware of are being developed. So we have to stay on top of this in order for us to make a difference in our communities, take advantage of this technology. Let's look towards the future. How futurists work. So the FBI forecasts that subnational and non-governmental entities will play an increasing role in world affairs for years to come, presenting new threats to the United States. Although the United States is going to continue to occupy a position of economic and political leadership, and although other governments will also continue to be important actors on the world stage, terrorist groups, criminal enterprises, and other non-state actors are going to assume an increasing role in international affairs. So nation states and their governments are going to exercise decreasing roles over the flow of information and resources and technology and services to people. In summary, experimental designs is random assignments of individuals to experimental and controlled conditions. Crime statistics are seldom sufficient to understand the extent of a particular strategy's impact. We have to look at more than just statistics. Most research on community policing strategies shows only modest and statistical insignificant effects. And last but not least, research indicates that community policing strategies do not have strong effects on community processes.